Okay, good evening, everyone, and a warm welcome to the event of today. And it's so pleasant to be reading the profile of our seasoned guest speaker for today. Emmanuel Michael, popularly known as EM, a leadership and career success coach, is a seasoned and highly sought after multiple award-winning strategic business leader with over 2 decades management experience spanning various industries such as multidisciplinary engineering, information technology, hospitality, and financial business services, of which over 17 years have been in human resources management practice. Between March and August 2017, he held forth as the interim CEO and head of HR at Leshigo MFB, a national microfinance bank in Nigeria. Is currently the head of people and culture at Leshigo, Nigeria. Emmanuel is also the founder and host of #HR_with_EM, a platform to #connect, #learn, and #share on everything leadership, career development, and employee experience. Is fondly called the HR celebrity by the Nigerian HR community. So please, with a round of applause and a warm welcome, let us invite our guest speaker to the podium. Thank you, sir. Welcome on board. Good to have you.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you, Emmanuel. Please welcome our guest speaker. You can do that through your chat box.
Okay, so thank you very much for that warm welcome. I can see, okay, so can we all see my slide?
Yes, sir.
Good.
Yes.
So as I go along, if you have questions, please use the chat box, drop the questions, and then I will attend to them at the end of the session. So the focus of the session today is on CV and LinkedIn optimization training. Yes, it is for HR professionals, but what I'm going to share is applicable to everyone. So irrespective of whether you are HR or not HR, okay? That's my bio. A multiple award-winning professional. So if you want to ask, have questions about the awards, we can discuss that later on. So focusing on CV optimization, what do we want to talk about? You know, creating a CV is hard, like I've said in the introduction here.
When one wants 1 minute, please. Emmanuel, sorry, 1 minute. Yes. Please, at this time, all video should be off, please. We want only, we're going to put spotlights on only the speaker. We want all video muted at this time. Thank you so much. Please, all video muted at this time. Thank you so much. All right, thank you so much. You can go on.
Okay, thank you for that. So as I was saying, creating a CV or a resume, as some call it, it's a difficult job. People find it difficult. They struggle on how to create a resume, okay? That's one problem. Then the second problem is creating one that will actually land you that dream job, you know, the one that the recruiter will see and like and say, wow, this is the kind of CV that I've been looking for. That is even a more difficult job for professionals, either experienced or young professionals, okay? We have that challenge. And then you ask yourself, so what should my CV, what sort of CV can I create? What sort of resume can I create that will be compelling enough such that when the recruiter picks the CV, he or she will want to, you know, see me. And usually, you know, it takes like less than 6 seconds or 6 seconds glancing at the CV for one to say, wow, this CV is good. Let me even read it. And then let me invite this particular person. So that's basically what I'm going to share with us. So what I'm going to be covering this evening, I'm going to be covering 3 key things about your CV. So what does a winning resume or CV looks like? So I will show us an example. Then I'll walk us through step-by-step guide on how to create a compelling CV or resume. So there are 8 steps that you can go through, okay? And then I will, as part of the 8 steps, one of them talks about your work experience. So I'm going to share with you the formula for listing your work experience the right way. Okay, I've seen sometimes when people list their work experience on the CV, they don't really list, it doesn't convey the message that the recruiter is looking for. So I'm going to share with us what the recruiter is looking out for, so that when they look at your CV, they'll be excited and want to talk to you. Okay, so I hope you have your notepad, make notes. At the end of the session, feel free to share the takeaways on LinkedIn. I'm very active on LinkedIn, so share the takeaways on LinkedIn, tag me, tag HR with TA. You can also tag HR with EM, okay? When you tag me, I'm going to comment on your posts. And when I do comment, that should help to extend the reach of your post. For those of you who have checked out my profile, as at the time we agreed that we're going to, I was informed about this event. I think I had about 273,000 followers. So today I think it's about 275,000. So that's like 2,000 added within the space of 2 weeks. Okay, so but we'll talk about LinkedIn when we get to LinkedIn. So for now, let's focus on the CV. So what does a winning resume look like? So I will show you an example of one that I found online, which appeals to me. Okay, so this is what a winning resume looks like. This is a one-pager resume and it has a lot in it. So, you know, sometimes people will ask, how many pages should my resume be with all the experience that I have? It can be 1 page, it can be 2 page, it can be 3. When it goes beyond 3, then we begin to ask, is it an academic CV you want to prepare or something? Maybe if you are preparing a CV to lecture in a school, yes, you need to have a voluminous CV, but for a job, okay, you want to work in an office, I think a maximum of 3. So 2 page, 2.5 page. If you can fit your CV into a 1-pager, then that would be great, okay? So on this CV, you can see everything is fitted in and it has a lot, okay? It has, you see the work experience, you see the education, skills, the organization the person belongs to, the awards, training conferences that they've attended, okay? So we're going to look at, from that example that you see there, there are certain things that person who prepared that CV did very right, and that's what I'm going to share here. So the first one is the CV format. You need to decide, what CV format do I want to use? Okay, so there are 3 main CV formats, and the most popular one is what we call the reverse chronological CV or resume. So the reverse chronological CV or resume is one in which when you start listing your either experience or education, you start from the current and then go back to the previous, okay? So that's the reverse chronological CV. So, and that is the most common, because everybody wants to know what you're doing right now, okay? If you start by listing from your primary school before you get to your university, or maybe you have a master's, the recruiter would have been bored by the time he gets to see what you're doing today. So in order to impress the recruiter, it's better for you to catch the attention of the recruiter with what you're doing right now. And maybe what you're doing right now is actually interesting, exciting, and relevant to the job that you want to apply for, okay? And that's what the recruiter will want to take a look at. The other type of CV is called the functional CV, okay? This functional CV, the difference between this and the reverse chronological is that it focuses more on your skills rather than your work experience. So you don't start with work experience. You start the CV by talking about your skills, okay? The functional skills that you've acquired. While that of the reverse chronological CV starts with a work experience. You list your work experience first, okay? Then followed by the skills in reverse order. Then the third type is the combination where you have both the reverse showing your work experience and then showing the what do you call it, the functional skills. showing them both side by side, like the one we saw now. You can see that this CV focuses on, excuse me. Okay, so if you see this, you notice that the work experience is on the left-hand side, the skills on the right-hand side, okay? So this is more like a hybrid of the CV. So that's taking recognition of both. So if your CV, say for instance, you decide to put them on a straight line, this CV can come out as a two-pager CV, okay? So that's the format. So picking the right format is very critical, depending on the job that you're applying for, okay? Now, the other thing that makes this CV to stand out, the contact information. If you take a look at the contact information, what I've noticed is these days, especially with the security issues we have in the country, it's really not wise to list your whole address, okay? Your address, you put your full address. What is important is your phone number, your email. If you have a LinkedIn profile, and you should have a LinkedIn profile, because today we're operating in a digital world, so you should have a LinkedIn profile. You put the LinkedIn profile, okay? The URL for your LinkedIn, and then we should talk about your role. When you go to the LinkedIn, we should be able to read a little bit more about you, some of the things that are not contained in your CV. It would be nice if we can mute this person. Number 3. Okay, so I think we've muted this person. Okay. So number 3, capturing the recruiter's attention with a compelling resume summary. So your resume must always have a summary, okay? I will share with us what we need to include in that summary. So this summary should briefly describe your work experience or your work history. It should be an opener that would attract the recruiter, okay, to want to say, okay, if this person says they are XYZ, they've done this, they've accomplished this, I want to know more about them, okay? Say for instance, on my resume, I include that I've been ranked number 11 in the world out of 200 global leaders, okay, to watch out for in 2022. If that is part of what I put on my resume as my summary, the recruiter I want to say, so why is this guy ranked number 11 in the world out of 200, okay? Or I say I'm top 100 most influential HR leader. Why is this person top 100 most influential HR leader? So that's one of the things you put in your summary to capture the attention of the recruiter. Or let's say, for instance, you implemented a system in the organization that helped them to achieve some humongous goals, revenue, okay? Something strong, something big that can sway the recruiter to want to have a chat with you. So that's something you include in that summary. That's what we have next. Then you need to use bullet points, okay? Bullet points helps to highlight, makes it easy for people or the recruiter to see exactly what you want to say. You know, you say it concisely, brief, straight to the point. So use bullet points instead of writing long stories. And then you also need to keep your education section very minimal. Don't start from primary school, secondary school, list the most relevant. So usually either if you have a postgraduate, list your postgraduate degree, then maybe followed by your first degree. There's no need going into secondary school, going into primary school. You can go into secondary school, maybe you don't have a degree, and secondary school is the only thing you have. Then maybe that's what you need to list, but list the most recent education. That's what is important, okay? Then the skills. So you need to try to find out the skills, the relevant skills for your role, okay? So as an HR person or a professional in any field, try to identify the right skills that are relevant. And then when you look at the job ad that you are applying for, the job ad that you're applying for, if you read through that job ad, you discover that there are certain skills that the recruiter is looking for. Okay, you can tailor your CV to match those skills. So highlight those skills if you have them. Okay, if you don't have those skills, excuse me. If you don't have those skills, then it means that that's an opportunity for you to begin to see what do you do to acquire the skills. So at the interview, you might want to then share what you're doing to acquire those skills. Then also take the advantage to list other optional sections in the CV. If you have some awards, like me, I have several awards. You can list those awards. If you've received something from your office, you can also list that award. Like I'm looking at my desk, I have one. It says it's the most uniqueness award. Okay, so a uniqueness award. Maybe you are the best employer of the month in your organization. You can list that award. Okay, then you have certifications. You can also list your certifications. So those things that will help you stand out. It would be nice to include them on the CV. So I'm going to walk us through the 8 steps. Okay, 8 steps to write a great resume. So step number 1. Okay, so this is the example. Step number 1, you need to pick the right resume format. So here I'm sharing a resume format of a business development person. Okay, pick the right resume format. And I've given us the 3 different types. Okay, so I've talked about the reverse chronological, I talked about the functional, and I talked about the skills-based CV. Okay, so what format works for you? So from this sample that you're seeing on the screen, you can see that the candidate is starting with their work experience. So you list the current work experience and then followed by the previous ones, and then you go down. And then if, let's say for instance, you have 20 years experience, like me now, I have over 20 years experience. I don't have to list all the jobs that I have done. I need to list maybe the last 5, the last 7 or 10 years that are relevant. Okay, they have to be relevant to the current role that I'm applying for. So maybe the last 10, that's what I will list. And the last 10 years, I've only worked in 2 places. So it makes it easy for me to list just those 2 companies. But if I've worked, say, in the last 10 years, I've worked for 10 companies, I might not necessarily need to list those 10 companies. Okay, so I'll list the ones that are current and relevant to the role that I'm applying for. Okay. So this is another example. So the one on the left is the skills-based. Okay, so you can see the candidate started with the skills, okay, before the work experience. And then the one to the right, you have the work experience, and then you have areas of expertise, which is also like the skills.